but warm. I didn't do it because I had to, he said. I did it because I can't imagine my life without you all anymore. She smiled faintly, and tears welled in her eyes. You saved us again, she whispered. Maybe, he said, gazing into the fire, but I think you saved me first. Days turned into weeks. Together, they rebuilt. Thomas taught the boys how to chop wood and hunt, Emma taught him how to smile again. The laughter returned, stronger this time, and the little cabin that once held only silence was now alive with joy and love. Spring came, and the forest bloomed. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Thomas stood outside watching the children chase fireflies. Emma came beside him, her hand brushing his. Funny, she said, how life brings people together in the strangest ways. He turned to her and smiled. I thought I was destined to live alone in these woods, he said. But you proved me wrong. Emma leaned closer, whispering, maybe the woods were just waiting for a family. And in that moment, as laughter filled the air and the stars began to glow, Thomas realized he wasn't just a lonely woodsman anymore, he was home. Himman ran up, shouting, Uncle Thomas. Their joy was pure and loud enough to draw a few smiles from nearby villagers. He knelt, laughing as they hugged him. For the first time in a long while, the ache in his chest eased. That night, Emma insisted he stay for supper. The house she rented was small, but it felt alive, warm light spilling through the windows, the smell of stew filling the air, laughter bouncing off the wooden walls. As Thomas ate with them, he realized how much he had missed this, how much they had become a part of his life without him noticing. When it was time to leave, Emma walked him to the door. You're always welcome here, she said quietly. He nodded, his throat tight. On the way back to his cabin, the night sky shimmered with stars. For the first time in months, he didn't feel alone. Somewhere deep in his heart, he knew this story between them wasn't over. Winter came early that year. Heavy snow blanketed the valley, and fierce winds howled through the forest like lost spirits. Thomas had been preparing for weeks, stacking wood, sealing cracks, storing food. But even as he worked, he found his thoughts drifting toward the village. He hadn't seen Emma and the children since that night, though she sent messages now and then through passing traders. He missed them more than he could admit. Each evening, as the fire glowed in his cabin, he'd catch himself setting one extra plate on the table, only to take it away with a sigh. Then one evening, as a storm brewed in the sky, he heard frantic knocking at his door. When he opened it, his heart nearly stopped. It was little Mary, her cheeks red from the cold, tears freezing on her lashes. Mr. Thomas, she cried. Mama, there's a fire. The bakery, our home, it's burning. Without hesitation, Thomas grabbed his coat and axe and ran into the storm. Snow whipped at his face, wind bit through his clothes, but he didn't stop until he saw the orange glow in the distance. The village was chaos, people shooty. The morning sun peeked over the hills, pouring golden light through the misty pines. Thomas, the lonely woodsman, rose from his creaky wooden bed in the small cabin he had built with his own hands years ago. The quiet was familiar, almost too familiar. Birds sang somewhere in the distance, but inside the cabin, only the soft crackling of the dying fire filled the air. It had been months since Emma and her 3 children had left for the nearby village to start anew, leaving Thomas behind in the solitude he thought he wanted. But silence, once his friend, had grown into something colder, something that echoed every time he sat down to eat alone or stared into the fire with no one to share his thoughts with. He tried to stay busy. Chopping wood, fixing fences, tending the garden, anything to keep his mind from drifting back to that winter when he first took them in. He remembered how Emma had looked that night, tired, pale, clutching her youngest boy in her arms as snowflakes kissed her hair. He had opened his door to them, thinking it was only for a night or two, but life had other plans. The laughter of children had filled the air again. The smell of warm bread, the sound of soft singing at night, it had been like a second chance at life. Then, one spring morning, they left. Emma said they couldn't keep depending on him forever, she wanted to build a life of her own in the village. He had smiled and told her he understood. But deep inside, something in him broke. Now, months later, as autumn painted the woods in shades of amber and gold, Thomas felt a strange pull to the village. Maybe he needed supplies. Maybe he just wanted to see them one more time. The thought made him uneasy, but he couldn't ignore it. Packing his small bag, he locked his cabin and began the long walk down the trail. His axe hung at his side, his boots crunching over dry leaves. Every turn of the path brought memories, Emma laughing as she gathered berries, little Samuel asking endless questions.